Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Three-Man Weave, live here from Assembly Hall, where IU just pushed the record 7-6 in the Big Ten Conference with an 84-71 victory over Illinois tonight. No party in the South Lobby like there was last year this time when IU knocked off a ranked Illinois team. This is probably expected. Illinois hung it tough. They were down 2 at half, but Leonard got in some serious foul trouble in the second half. That was the difference in the game. Cody Zeller, 22 points. And Leonard fouled out with about 3 minutes to go, and Brandon Paul was really a non-factor as well. Guys, what were the keys for you? For me, it was, getting Leonard foul trouble, and also Brandon Paul not letting him go off like he did, like he has the capability to go off for.
I think that was a major factor of the game. Brandon Paul's a guy that when he sees that first shot go in, something goes off in his mind where he just gets that confidence, and he's pretty much lights out from beyond the arc when he gets that first one going. But really struggled in the first half, was 1 of 5. Only had 2 points. Victor Oladipo did a tremendous job on him in the first half. Might be overlooked because Leonard was still able to kind of have his way in the first half with 17 points. But you look at the job that Oladipo was able to do on Paul, and that's so important because Paul is the one guy in this team that can really take over and win a game for you. I mean, he beat Ohio State almost single-handedly in that 43-point effort that he had earlier in the season. And for IU to shut down a guy like Paul is important. It's very important for Oladipo to keep getting his confidence back defensively. He needs to get that defensive swagger back that he had earlier in the season because him playing that type of defense is so critical when you play some of these elite guards and down the stretch, and even if they get into the NCAA tournament. So important night for Victor Oladipo offensively and defensively.
Avi, what's key for you tonight?
Fouls. It's not just getting to the line and converting of the line, two things that Indiana did very, very well, but it was getting the other team in foul trouble. We heard left, right, 3 separate occasions tonight.
On their 2 best players, too.
On their 2 best players, exactly. I think the first of which was even Leonard.
Right. 3:09 to go in the game.
15 points in the first half, 2 in the second half. I mean, fouls really helped dictate this game, not only the flow of the game, because Illinois just looked extremely, extremely frustrated. When you get some of their guys into foul trouble, 4 fouls in the second half with 10 minutes to go, not only do they not have any depth, but their defense they just become a lot less aggressive on both sides of the ball. Indiana only allowed 1 less point to Illinois in the second half, but the difference is they outscored him, and I think a lot of that was getting to the basket, getting those easy shots, and just I said it before, but just getting to the line. 27 more attempts for Indiana than Illinois tonight. Illinois is 12 of 15 from the line. Indiana was 35 of 42. I could spout off stats all day, but nobody wants to hear that.
That is a stat. Illinois had 5 more made field goals than IU. They both made 7 threes. Right. So, the game was decided from the foul line. I believe after the game, Zach Osterman was saying 79 attempted free throws for IU in the past 2 games, and one of those being on the road. And that is incredible. That's what IU has to do because right now, I think without Verdell Jones, he is another scorer. And so now you have to get those easy baskets from the line. Tom Crean mentioned how he really has a great free throw shooting team. All of his
second
guys,
best in the conference in field goal percentage.
So,
free throws.
So I think that is huge for IU. It's just easy baskets, and at the same time you are taking guys like Leonard, Brandon Paul off the court. Guys, let's talk a little bit about the matchup. Zeller versus Leonard. 19 NBA scouts were in the building tonight. Leonard was held scoreless the last 18 minutes of the game. Leonard definitely got his early on. Foul trouble hurt him in the second half, but talk about just kind of the mental aspect of both those guys. How flustered did you guys see Leonard getting? We saw him and Cody get tangled up a couple times, but Cody just so even keel, cool, calm under pressure. He just never got flustered, hit some big shots late, and made, I think he was 12-14 from the foul line, which is the most foul shots he has shot in a game all season. But the mental aspect of Cody, I think, was huge all night, and Tom Crean talked about it after the game.
Yeah, we really saw the maturation of Cody Zeller in a game where he could have definitely lost his cool, a game that was very physical in the post, and he didn't really respond to some of the tactics that Leonard was trying to bring out. And Leonard multiple times was visually frustrated with some of the fouls that were being called against him, and kind of took it out on Cody. He had a cheap shot foul 20 feet away from the basket where he nearly, he pretty much just pushed Zeller down coming out of a timeout. And, it was very physical for most of that game between those two, but Zeller didn't give in, and he didn't pick up those cheap fouls and those fouls where you kind of question whether or not he's really matured all that much as a freshman. And for Leonard, a sophomore who had a lot of NBA draft scouts in here, that you wonder, can you get in his head? And I'm sure a lot of Big Ten coaches are going to put this in their back pocket and say, can we get in Myers Leonard's head and frustrate him? Because Cody Zeller did a perfect job of that tonight and really wore down the second half.
I read a tweet
such
where
a large piece to Illinois' puzzle.
he came back to the bench and he said, "I can't move." You know,
Right.
anything I do, and I really don't know how much of that's true. It was just an aggressive game all around. But that to me, the Leonard Zeller battle between two potential NBA players was just the most intriguing story of the game. It may have not decided the game because I really still stick to the fact that the fouls.
Yeah.
But that was the most intriguing to me, just the amount of emotion that exuded from them. It was just really fascinating. I mean, Leonard much more so than Zeller, and you guys were touching on that, how it didn't let it get to him.
I think it was Cody's toughest matchup of the year.
I'll agree.
Anthony Davis got in foul trouble. Jared Solinger, they kind of doubled a lot.
I would say
saw it both
Michigan.
those games.
Michigan might have been his
Michigan
toughest
State.
because
Michigan
okay,
State with Payne and Nix
Right.
maybe as well. But I mean, Myers Leonard is he's big. He's bigger than Cody. He's got him by a couple inches. He's got a wide base on him. Guys, we're on deadline here, so we're going to wrap this up. Any last thoughts? IU does have a break until Northwestern next Tuesday. 7-6 in the Big Ten. Do you guys feel like IU can rattle off a couple here to end the regular season?
I'd be surprised if they didn't. The way that they're playing right now, Bob Kravitz kept bringing up the question earlier.
it's a good one.
A very good question, an important question. Is IU better now than they were when they were 12-0? And I would have to agree. He kept saying 12-0, but and I would agree with that statement. The way that this team has come out in these past two games, these rivalry games, they've really taken it to two middle of the pack Big Ten teams that might make the NCAA tournament. Crean seemed to think that Illinois was definitely in the NCAA tournament, which we'll see how the rest of their schedule plays out. But really, this team is playing very good basketball right now. They're not relying on the typical three-point shooting that they relied on earlier in the season, and they're getting to the basket, and they're grinding out these games in ways that elite teams are supposed to do. You can't always, yes, you cannot always rely on your shooting to be there. Shots aren't always going to fall, but IU is finding new ways to win and doing so in convincing fashion.
Last thoughts?
After the three losses, you looked at the middle of the pack, and just as Connor was saying, these are the teams you need to beat. These are who's going to kind of shuffle themselves around. The top was clear to me.
Right.
It's Ohio State, it's Michigan State, and
Wisconsin
then
and Michigan maybe. And everybody else.
right. And then I'd even include Michigan in that middle pack, and then you got teams like Illinois, Purdue, and Michigan. You're right, it's kind of in the upper echelon of that, and then Indiana. And then we were going to look at this, and we were going to say, okay, as the Big Ten season progresses, where are the Hoosiers in this kind of setup? And you drop, let's say hypothetically, you drop a game at Purdue, and then maybe even at home in Illinois, and all of a sudden you're looking at being the 6th, 7th best team in the Big Ten, and that's not really a place you want to be. Especially as the seeding is starting to take shape. And I think Indiana, with these two games, although they were against unranked opponent, really made a statement with what type of team we can expect down the stretch.
I think they're firmly in the tournament now. It's just trying
Oh,
to
no
build that resume. So their final 5 games in the Big Ten season, they should be favored really in all of them. I even expect them to be favored over Michigan State at home, although that'll be a very tough game. That's the second last game of the season. So for Avi Zayla and Connor O'Gara, I'm Kevin Bowen. Again, a week off. Northwestern comes in here on Tuesday. John Scherna, the leading scorer in the Big Ten Conference. So everybody will
Coming in Wednesday, right?
Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Middle of the week.
I got my days mixed up, but yeah, they will be here Wednesday, 7 o'clock. So thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Chicago's basketball team.